Friends, today is going to be a very, very monumental day. Not for just the channel, but for me as well. We're going to be doing a full respray on this car. I have everything laid out. Bumpers, every trim piece to include all the handles, fully taken apart. Mirror caps, literally everything you can think of off of this car. I've been working for about 9 months for this exact moment right here. So we need to go ahead and get this car out of this garage space, and we're going to pull it into the backyard because I picked something up that's going to help us paint. Well, that looks pretty freaking cool, actually. With it halfway in the sun, it looks like we scuffed everything down perfectly, so now we need to move on to that. This is an inflatable paint booth, and this is what we're going to use to paint this guy. I've seen these all over the internet of everybody using these, and they always have good results. So we need to figure out where back here we're going to put it. I think the farther back the better. The only problem with that is I'm going to have to move my air compressor outside because I don't think my hose is long enough. We'll deal with that when we get there. Let's get this out of the box. I think we're going to do it out here. Probably seems like the best place to do it. So it looks like I didn't buy a booth long enough. It's big enough for everything else, but not for this fully. So we're gonna work with what we have. It'll work, I hope. So basically what we're gonna do now is I'm just gonna go ahead and spray this whole thing down with wax and grease remover, get all the dirt off it, make it squeaky clean, and then we need to finish taping off the door handles and the hood scoop and the windows, and we're ready to spray. Setup's kind of funny, man. I have everything other than that fell off. Lovely. I'll fix that. Everything is masked off how it needs to be. Oh, that fell off too. Cool, let's fix that. So now we are ready to start spraying some color. We need to clean it one more time, tack rag it, and we need to mix up our color and we can spray. As I was saying, we got this side tied down, but this setup's super funny, dude. I don't have any extension cords. I don't know how, but I don't have any extension cords long enough to reach to the fan. Thankfully, I have a generator for hurricane seasons, and it's gonna work just fine. We have about 5 hours left on that tank, so I'm gonna have to refill it after I spray clear, just to let this bake outside for a while. So that way we can pull the car out once the clear is baked, and then we're gonna have to put in all the miscellaneous parts like the side skirts, bumper, rear bumper, door handles, everything else that can't be sprayed in here all at once because my thinking, I didn't buy a paint booth big enough for everything. So we're gonna have to make it work with what we got. Let's go mix up some color so we can get this thing tack ragged, cleaned, and then we can get it changed back to a sweet, sweet color. All right, so the paint that we're using today is an Omni product. It's the Omni base coat, the MBC, and then the medium reducer, the MR186. I got these custom mixed at Single Source Paint Shop down here in Melbourne, Florida. And here we go. So here's the tech sheet. This gun, to get this paint gun ready, it needs to be mixed in a ratio of 1:1. So 1 part base to 1 part reducer. So if we take a look at this cup, you have your 1:1 right here. And so we're going off these first 2 numbers right here. So it's going to be, so we're going to look at the 3 right here. This 3 is going to be base coat, and then we're going to follow it up to the next 3, and that's going to be reducer, and that's going to give us that much paint. So I'm probably going to have to mix some more, given that I don't know what I'm doing. And we're going to be spraying it out of a very lovely Harbor Freight Special. So I hope it turns out good. Let's give that a shot. Let's mix this up, and let's check out what color that we have picked for this car. You can probably see a little sneak right here. It is black. So we're going from black to black. So the color of choice is none other than the infamous Java Black Pearl. I am so stoked to spray this color out and see how it looks on this car. It's gonna look absolutely ridiculous. Hands down, the best paint color Subaru has ever made. Let's get it in our paint cup now. Then we gotta get suited up. Well, here goes nothing. Alright, so we just got the first coat of base laid down. Everything looks pretty good. There's a couple pieces of dirt I'm going to have to nib out on the hood. Roof looks pretty good. Doors are good. All that bodywork that I did looks phenomenal. So that's a plus. Like, this fender was completely jacked up. That door was messed up pretty good. And all that looks very straight. Body lines look nice. So here, the flash time between coats is 15 minutes. It is pretty hot out, so these solvents are gonna evaporate pretty quickly. So I'm gonna give this hood another 10 minutes. I'm gonna nib it out, and then I'm gonna go make another cup of base, and then we're gonna give this whole thing one more coat of base. You can already kind of see the metallics in it. Might be kind of hard to see on camera, but you can kind of start to see the gold right there. It's really gonna pop on this next coat, and then once we get the clear on here, this thing is gonna look ridiculous. So let's give this its normal flash time, 15 minutes. I'm gonna nib out some dirt on the hood, and then from there, one more coat of base, and then we're on to clear. So we got the second coat on, everything looks good, other than I dripped frickin' sweat at the end out of my glove. So I think that side was dry enough, I should be able to just tap that off. But the car looks super straight. The color's crazy if you get the right angle. It's kind of hard to see when it's in the booth, but there's the flake. That's just going to accentuate when we get the clear on there. But everything is looking really good so far. So now this needs to sit for 20 minutes before we put on clear coat to let all the solvents escape, and then we can go mix up some clear and get this thing tack ragged and ready to go for its last two coats of clear. So it is clear time. The clear that we're using is MC161. This is a high solids urethane clear, and this mixes 2 to 1. So 2 parts clear, 1 part MH168 hardener. And this is a slow hardener, so this will give me a lot of time to be able to make sure that it is a nice thick coat and not have any runs. So pretty much course of action, what we're gonna do is we're gonna mix up this clear, we're gonna have it in the gun ready to go, and then we're gonna go through and tack rag the entire thing to make sure that there's minimal amounts of dust as possible. And then we're gonna lay on 2 coats of clear, first one being more like a drop coat, and then the second one being a thicker, slower laying down coat, just so that we can make sure that we have a nice lot of layer to work with, so that if there's any dirt in the paint, we can go ahead and nib that out once this hardens over the course of, you know, a week, to make sure that this can be as glassy smooth as possible. So we're going 2 to 1, so we have that 5 here, and then that 5 there is our next 1 ratio. I apologize, I don't want this video to seem like it's rushed, but I also have no idea what I'm doing, and that makes it a little harder to video and learn at the same time. But we're going to do our best. So that's 2 to 1 right there. We get that mixed up. The paint stick, make sure that's all nice and sprayable. And so these tech sheets are nice too, because they do have, like, on this next page, how many coats you should do, what you should have your gun set at, and how much PSI you should be running through your gun, and then how the flash time in between coats, and then how long it takes to air dry and take the tape off. So this is going to take 6 to 8 hours before we can unmask the tape. So I'm going to give it 2 hours to tack up, and then I have to take the driver's side tape off, because we're going to have to get the other parts in there to get these sprayed out. Alright, we just got the last coat of clear laid down, and I have to say it looks pretty good. It's still pretty wet, so it has some flattening out to do. But look at that flake in there. Absolutely crazy. So that's looking pretty flat. I do have some pretty nasty runs on this side. You can see that run right there. So that's gonna have to get wet sanded out. And it's all the way down like here too. Not a big deal. I can get that wet sanded out. This does not look bad at all for my first time ever painting. Like, look at this color, man. Whack. This is so sick. We have some dirt spots on a couple solvent pop areas here. Not too big of a deal. We have a lot of material to work with, so we can wet sand and polish everything. But now we need to give this guy at least 45 minutes to flash off, so that we can take off at least the tape for the door, the driver's side door, so that we can go ahead and get this out of here, so we can get the bumper, all the door handles, everything in here, and get that ready to go for color and clear. So that should take a lot less time than this entire car. It's a lot less surface area. I cannot get over this color. And of course, we spray this entire car out. And it's just so cloudy out. And I hope it doesn't rain, but it's Florida. You never know. But that turned out freaking bananas so far. I am more than proud of myself for doing that. That looks awesome. So now we just have to do, like I said, the 2 rear bumpers over there, all the door handles, bumper inserts, and the trunk, and that's about it. And then we need to let everything sit for at least, I'm gonna do at least 2 days to gas out, flatten out, and just make everything, you know, and let everything harden up, and then we can go on to reassembly. That's gonna be coming in the next video after we let this guy hang out for a while. But we are gonna be spraying the bumper, trunk, and everything else to go along with this in this video, so we can get an actual representation of how everything is going to look. And by the looks of this paint job, I think it's gonna look pretty sweet. Well, as you can see, we are now into the wee hours of the night. I thought this was going to go a lot faster than it actually did. However, I always highly underestimate how long projects are going to take, and this one took a very long time. So we did get it all banged out in one day. We have all the parts here. We have all the door handles. All those look really good. It's hard to tell, obviously, the color of Java Black Pearl when it is not on the car and in the sunlight, but there's a very good look. It's like a green, brown, and gold when you're in the sunlight or have light hitting it. So all these parts still need to be wet sanded and polished. As you can see, there's still quite a bit of orange peel. I minimized dirt on the second half because the car wasn't sticking out of the booth. All this stuff was in the booth with the doors closed. The car still looks really good. Just a lot of dirt. So that's all gonna have to get wet sanded out. I have the trunk back on. That's very orange peely. But like I said, I'm a very novice painter. Just being able to get a car a completely different color than what it went in the booth as, huge, huge milestone for me. But the real magic with this color is when you toss a light on it. Like, look at how gorgeous that color is. It's absolutely bananas. This thing's gonna look freaking crazy in the sunlight, and I can't wait to get all this stuff installed. Obviously, we're gonna have to wait for all this paint to cure. The paper has said it's gonna be touch dry in 8 hours. This is already done. The actual car is already done because we did paint that way earlier in the day. But what I didn't show on camera was that this car was in the booth with the front sticking out after it just got its last coat of fresh clear. And Florida decided that it wanted to rain. I caught it right before it started raining, but we almost ruined our brand new paint job. But all in all, for my first time, I would say that that is not a bad job. So we need to get all this tape off as well. We'll do that here soon and get this all back to its original glory. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. It was a massive milestone to get this thing painted and get it in color. Thank you guys for sticking around. I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya.